Good morning, everyone. Can you all hear me and can you see the slides properly? Good morning and very happy new year to all. Right. So, before starting the today's lecture, if we look back what we have learned so far in this course module, we have covered database management, and also we have covered web presence and collaborative tools that we can use. And very recently, we have completed Power Apps, right? So these things we have already completed in this course module, right? So today, we are moving to a new area which is somewhat familiar to you, that is advanced spreadsheet applications, right? So these spreadsheet applications we have covered in your first year as well, and these spreadsheet applications, if we take as the future managers, the knowledge on these spreadsheet applications will be very much useful to you, right? Now, first tell me, now as I mentioned, we have covered these spreadsheet applications in the first year, right? Now tell me what is the most familiar spreadsheet applications to you? That is Microsoft Excel, right? So in here also under this advanced spreadsheet applications topic, basically we are using Microsoft Excel in order to discuss the different areas that comes under this part, right? Now first let's see what is Microsoft Excel, right? Now here it says Microsoft Excel. It is a software program produced by Microsoft that allows user to organize, format and calculate data with formulas using a spreadsheet system, right? Now if we take the Microsoft Excel, right, as you are familiar with it, we know that using the Microsoft Excel, we can organize data in different ways, right? At the same time, we can do certain modifications or we can do changes to the data. At the same time, we are in a position to do the calculations in Microsoft Excel using some basic formulas as well as some advanced formulas, right? And also, if we take this Microsoft Excel, it is a part of a Microsoft Office suite, right? Now, if we take the Microsoft Office suite, so there are different applications involved, right? So we have the Microsoft Word, Microsoft PowerPoint, right? Microsoft Access, and also the OneNote. Likewise, there are a wide array of applications that are available in this Microsoft Office package, right? So if we take the Microsoft Excel, it is also a part of this suite. And also if we take this Microsoft Excel, maybe you are familiar with it is having both desktop version as well as the online version. And this desktop version, you can install it to your computer and you can work with Excel, right? And also you have the online version as well. But if we take this desktop version and online version, it is these two are not the features are somewhat different, right? Sometimes all the features, all the functionalities that are available in the desktop version may not be available in the online version. And also how the menus were arranged in this desktop and online version, they are different, right? Likewise, there are differences between this online version and the desktop version, right? However, both the version we can do in order to do our activities. And also, if we talk about this Microsoft Excel, we know today this Microsoft Excel is being used by the most of the organizations, right? So now in different functional areas as well as no matter the size, even the small scale organization, even the large scale, medium scale organizations, they are heavily depends on this Microsoft Excel application. And as I mentioned at the beginning as well, in this session, in today's session, we are basically going to talk about the different areas that comes under this Microsoft Excel, right? So one such area is data manipulation. So now we are going to look at how this data manipulation can be done using Microsoft Excel, right? So if we see what is data manipulation, it is the modification of data to make it easier to read or more structured, right? Now, why we are using the manipulation, right? What is the purpose of using manipulation? Because using the manipulation, we are in a position to change our data, or we are in a position to do adjustment to our data in order to make these data more easy to read, and also to make our data more organized and more understandable to the user, right? That is why we are doing data manipulation. And Excel can be used as one of the very useful tool in order to perform this data manipulation, right? Then අපිට Excel පාවිච්චි කරලා data manipulation කරන්න පුළුවන්. අපි data manipulation වලදී කරන්නේ අපි data වල changes කරනවා, modifications කරනවා. ඒ හරහා අපිට පුළුවන් වෙනවා අපේ තියෙන දත්ත ගොඩක් ලේසියෙන් අඳුන ගන්න, ඒවා තේරුම් ගන්න පහසු වෙනවා. ඒ වගේම ඒවා අපිට කිසියම් තේරුම් ගන්න සුදුසු ආකාරයට සකස් කරන්න, ඒ වගේ දේවල් කරන්න හැකියාවක් ලැබෙනවා data manipulation හරහා, right? Now, in the first year also, we have discussed different kinds of tools that are available for us to do this data manipulation, right? Now, there are different tools that are available for the data manipulation. However, here we have mentioned some of the tools, but you have to keep in mind that the tools and techniques for data manipulation in Excel, these are not just limited to the techniques that we mention here, right? Rather, there are a large number of tools and techniques that are available. However, we are going to today we are going to focus on these few techniques, right? So if we take the first one, that is functions and formulas, right? So you know, in Excel, one of the main thing that we can do in Excel is we can perform certain calculations, right? There are different functions and we can use different formulas in order to do the calculations in Excel, right? So if we take the functions and formulas in Excel, now in Excel, these functions are arranged in different categories. There are different categories of functions, right? There are around 15 categories of functions that we can identify in Excel, right? So tell me few such categories of functions that are available. Tell me what are the different categories of functions that are available in Excel. There are different categories, right? We have the functions and these functions also arranged in different categories, right? What are these categories? Right. So we have financial functions, right? So if you go to Excel, you can see under formula tab, there are different categories are there, right? There are financial functions, logical functions, and also date and time functions, right? Statistical function. Likewise, there are different categories of functions, right? At the same time, in this, based on these different categories also, we can find out different functions are there, right? In Microsoft Excel, there are around 500 plus functions that are available, right? So based on your requirement, you can decide which function you are going to use, right? Let's say for an example, if you want to get a total of values in a particular data range, then what you can use some function, right? So if you want to get the average, then you can use average function, right? And also, let's say if you want to count certain numbers, then you can use count function. If the counting is involved in certain criteria, then which function we can If we want to count certain numbers, we want to get the count that satisfy some criteria. In that case, which function we can use? These are very simple questions, right? Then අපිට count එක ගන්න ඕනේ මොකක් හරි criteria එකක් satisfy. Then what function we can use? In order to get the count, we have to use count if, right? If there are several criteria, then we are using count ifs, right? Likewise, based on your requirement, based on what you want to get, you can use these functions, right? Now here, we have given a reference on the different functions and different categories of functions that are available in Excel. Hope you can see my screen, right? So here we can see the Excel functions by category, right? Now, if we look at this, now there are different categories of function, right? Here you can see compatibility functions, cube function, database functions, date and time functions, engineering functions. Likewise, there are different functions that are available in Microsoft Excel, right? So if we go inside this particular category, there also we can see the different functions that are available. Then මේ category එකක් ඇතුළට ගියාම ඔයාලට පේනවා ඒ category එකට අදාළ වෙන functions ගොඩක් available වෙනවා, right? So the functions and what we can do in what instances we can use these functions, right? So that can be identified if you refer this particular content, right? And then also, now that is about the functions and formulas, and I hope that is clear to you, because in the first year also we have discussed so many functions, right? So there is a separate activity which is available, which you can do in the interactive lecture on these functions and formulas, right? And then another manipulation technique available in Microsoft Excel is autofill and flash fill, right? First of all, tell me, what is this autofill and flash fill? As you know, what is the difference between? If you know, what is the difference between this autofill and flash fill? Can anyone tell me what is the difference between this autofill and flash fill option? What is the difference? And if at least, do you know what is this flash fill and autofill? Right. So before moving to a demonstration, I will play a video on this autofill and flash fill, which helps you to get an idea on how this autofill and flash fill works, right?
Sometimes you need to enter a lot of repetitive information in Excel, such as dates, and it can be really tedious. If you think there might be an easier, automated way to do this, you'd be right. Type the first date in the series, put the mouse pointer over the bottom right-hand corner of the cell until it's a black plus sign, click and hold the left mouse button, and drag the plus sign over the cells you want to fill. And voila! The series is filled in for you automatically using the autofill feature. Or say you have information in Excel that isn't formatted the way you need it to be, such as this list of names. And going through the entire list manually to correct them is daunting. You'd think there'd be an easier, automated way to do this too. And you'd be right again. Type the first name the way you want it. Start to type the next name, and, as if by magic, Excel provides a preview of the names formatted the way you want. Press Enter, and the names are filled in for you using the Flash Fill feature that's new in Excel 2013. Autofill and Flash Fill are tremendous time savers, and they can do much more than we've covered in this introduction. In the next videos, we'll cover them in more
Right. Now, if we look at what is this flash fill and autofill, now in a autofill, by using autofill, what we can do is based on a value in a particular cell, we can fill a series, right? We can fill a data series based on the autofill option. When it comes to the flash fill, how it fill the rest of the cell, it is based on the identification of a particular pattern. Right? Let's say we type something or we type something in a one cell, then based on that pattern that it follows, once it identifies the patterns, then the flash fill will fill the rest of the cells, right? That is what this autofill and flash fill, right? So in order to give you a clear idea on how this flash fill and autofill works, I will demonstrate it using Microsoft Excel. Right. So here, now let's say, now here we have the names of the students, first name, let's say names of the employees, right? First name, last name, and email address and mobile number, right? So here, first I want to give a number, right? I want to give a number to these employees based on the sequence order, right? Now here what we can do is we can type 1 and we can drag this plus sign, right? Then what happened? All the cells take the value 1, right? So then what we want to do, we don't want 1, but we want to follow it a sequence order. On a sequence order. Then what you can do is you can select this fill series option, right? So that it will fill this data series based on the sequence order, right? And let's say other than that, let's say I will type 1 and 2, and then we can select these 2 and we can drag the plus sign down, right? So it will automatically fill this series, right? Other than that, how you can, in which situations we can use this autofill option, right? Maybe let's say you want to fill the data sets based on the dates of the week, right? You want to fill this particular cell based on the days that comes in the week, right? Then we can type first we type Monday, right? Then we can drag this, right? So what happened? It automatically fills this, right? Let's say you are typing a date, right? So we type today's date, right? And we drag this, right? So here the date is only changing. The day is only changing, right? Let's say you want to change this into a years, right? So here what happened? The years are arranging into a sequence order, right? Likewise, using a value in a particular cell, we can fill a series of data using this autofill option, right? So let's see where we can use this flash fill option, right? Now here, I want to type the email address of these students here, right? Now here I have only 20 students, right? Let's say we have around 500 students, right? Then if we are going to type these email addresses one by one, then it will be more time consuming, right? Therefore, we need to now this flash fill will give you the quick option in order to fill this particular data set, right? Now here let's say now my email address, the username should be this first name and last name, and then comes the domain name, right? So first I type this username, right? Right. So this is the email that I type, right? So when I enter, right? So then now let's say, so I type the email address here, right? Now, if I select the autofill option, let's see what is happening here, right? So the same email address is get pasted to the rest of the cell. But here I don't want that to happen. Rather, I want to change these email addresses based on what is in these two cells, right? Now there, if we go to this flash fill option, right? Now sometimes the preview is available, but here since the preview is not given, now here we have typed the email address of the first student. Therefore, then we go to date, right? So we go to data, and in data tools we have this flash fill option, right? So what we can do is you can click this flash fill option. So see what happening. So here what is happening is now we can see that this all the other cells will automatically get updated or automatically get the data based on the initial pattern, right? So here what we did, we add the first name, last name, and it is in lowercase, and then we add the domain name, right? So once we click the flash fill option, all the other rest of the cells also get updated based on the pattern that we follow initially, right? And also, in addition to selecting this flash fill option, we can also use the shortcut key, that is Control E, right? So if you press Control E, then also it automatically get updated, right? And also let's take another example, right? Now here I want to format my mobile numbers in this particular column in a different way, right? So I want to write it as 771. Right? So I want to write it in this way. So all the other cells I want to format it in the same manner, right? There are also what you can do. You can go to this flash fill option and you can select the flash fill option. So all the rest of the cells will get formatted according to the way that you want, right? Likewise, based on a particular pattern, once the pattern is identified, this flash fill will fill the rest of the cells based on that particular pattern. Is it clear to you? In similar manner, let's say now when you have the full numbers of the student, and if you want to separate the first name, right? There also you can use the flash fill option. Let's say you want to convert some of the names into the uppercase, right? There also we can go with the flash fill options, right? So this will be very time saving option that is available in Excel. Is it clear to you? Is it clear? Right, okay. Now we talked about this autofill and flash fill option, and another option that is available for the data manipulation, that is sorting and filtering, right? So first tell me why we are using sorting, what we can do using sorting in Excel. අපිට Excel වල තියෙන sorting option එක use කරලා මොනවද කරන්න පුළුවන්? So one student having a question regarding this flash fill option. So there you don't have to select the entire column, right? You only have to select the this cell, right? Now here if I remove this one, right? Right, I will remove this one. And here, this is the cell I have formatted in a way that I want, right? දැන් මේක තමයි මට ඕන විදිහට මම format කරේ. So I will select this one, then I click flash fill option. මම මේ cell එක select කරලා මම flash fill එක click කරාම icon එක click කරාම ඒක auto format වෙනවා අනිත් cells ටික. Is it clear? Right. Then if we go to this sorting and filtering, right? So why we are using sorting? Basically, the sorting helps us to arrange the data into a particular order, right? So it could be based on the, let's say, ascending order or descending order, or based on the value highest to lowest or lowest to highest, or based on some custom list that we want to arrange the data. Right. So likewise, there are different options available for us to arrange or organize the data in a particular way, right? In order to order or in order to arrange the data based on into a particular order, we can use this sorting option, right? So since we have covered this in your first year course, so I am not going to demonstrate how we can do sorting and filtering. I hope that it is remembered to you. Therefore, I will be playing a video which give you a quick idea on how this sorting can be done.
Goodwill Community Foundation, creating opportunities for a better life.
When you have a lot of different rows in your spreadsheet, you may want to sort the data so you can view it more easily. Sorting can reorder things alphabetically, numerically, by date, or even in a custom order that you choose. Depending on your preference, you can either sort from the Home tab using the Sort and Filter drop-down menu, or you can use the commands in the Data tab. In this example, I have a worksheet with a list of t-shirt orders, and I'd like to sort it alphabetically by last name. Just click any cell in the column you want to sort, and then click the Ascending command. That's the one that says A to Z. You'll notice that when we sort one column, Excel also reorders the other columns so that each row still has the correct information. If we wanted these in reverse order, we could click the Descending command. That's the one that says Z to A. Now, this method doesn't always work if your spreadsheet has an unusual layout. Watch what happens when I try to sort the data here on the right. See how the header row is included in the sort by mistake? In a situation like this, you might need to manually select the cells you want, instead of relying on Excel to do it for you. This is called sorting a cell range. Select the cell range you want to sort, including the header row if you have one. Then, click the Sort command, and a dialog box will appear. And first you'll want to check the box that says My Data Has Headers. Then, use the drop-down menu on the left to choose the column you want to sort by, then select a sorting order. In this example, we'll choose largest to smallest. When you're done, click OK, and the range will be sorted by the selected column. Notice that the rest of the worksheet wasn't affected by our sort. Now, sometimes the default sorting options won't work for what you have in mind. For example, if we sort the columns that contain the t-shirt sizes in ascending order, the order will be large, medium, small, then extra large, because the column is being sorted alphabetically. You know, it would be better if the sizes were listed in a more logical order. In other words, small, medium, large, then extra large. For this, we'll need to create a custom sort. To begin, click the Sort command, and on the right, you can see that it's ordering the column from A to Z. If we click this drop-down menu and select Custom List, we can enter the t-shirt sizes in the order we want. So I'll click in the box and start typing. Small, medium, large, and extra large, and I'm pressing enter after each one. When you're done with your list, click the Add button. and make sure that your list is selected over here on the left. Then click OK to confirm, and OK again. And now the worksheet is sorted the way we want. The only problem with this is that every other column is completely out of order. What I would really like is if the homeroom numbers were organized within each t-shirt size. I can do this by sorting by multiple levels. This will let us sort first by t-shirt size and then by homeroom. Click the sort command and you'll notice the different options at the top of the dialog box. You can add a level to the sort, delete a level, or even use the arrows to change the level order. In this example, we want to add a level. Now we just have to select the homeroom column, and we'll leave the other two fields the way they are, sorting the values from smallest to largest. And when you click OK, you'll see that within each t-shirt size, the homeroom numbers are listed in numerical order. As you can see, there are a lot of different ways of sorting your data, depending on how you want to organize it. So take some time to experiment with the different options and find the ones that best suit your needs.
So that is about sorting, right? So there you have seen how the sorting can be do in a different way, how we can organize data in a different way, right? So we can also create the custom list, right? You can create a list in order to arrange the data in the way that you want, right? Also, maybe you can arrange the data based on the different levels, right? Likewise, there are different sorting options are available in Microsoft Excel. Right. At the same time, along with the sorting, we also have another option that is filtering, right? So filtering, as the name suggests, it helps us to filter, right? Or it helps us to exactly or extract certain key information or certain informations that we want, right? Maybe we have a large data set. Out of that, we are not interested in everything. Rather, we want to, let's say for an example, now in the particular data set, you are having a sales data set, right? So in that particular data set, you are having the products belonging to the different categories, right? So, but you are not interested and you don't want to get information relevant to all these product categories, right? Rather, you want the information only on the food and beverage category, right? Therefore, you can filter, you can use this filter option and you can get the information or data relevant to this food and beverage category, right? Likewise, the filtering helps you to filter the data, right? So in the filtering option also, there are some basic filtering that are available. At the same time, there are some advanced filtering options that are available, which helps you to exactly identify certain data which match the certain specified criteria, right? Likewise, the filtering can be used for these purposes, right? So there's a small video on filtering as well.
Goodwill Community Foundation, creating opportunities for a better life.
Filtering is a great feature of Excel that gives you a lot of control over which parts of your spreadsheet are displayed. You can use it to show only the information you need, or find something specific, while hiding the rest of the data temporarily. Now, it is important that you have a header row because the filtering tools will actually get added to the cells in this header row. In this example, I have an equipment checkout log, and there are a lot of things to keep track of, so I'd like to use some filters to simplify it. First, go to the Data tab and click the Filter command, and you'll see these drop-down arrows are now added to your header row. These are what you'll use to access all of the filtering options. Here, you'll see a list of all the different values that appear in this column. I'd like to just view the laptops and projectors, so I'll uncheck this box to quickly deselect everything, then check Laptop and Projector. Click OK, and now the drop-down arrow has been changed to a different icon to show that there is a filter applied to this column. We can narrow down this data even further by adding another filter to a different column. Let's filter by the date that the items were checked out. This shows all the months that appear in this column. So I'll uncheck the months that I don't want, then click OK. To get rid of any filter, just click the icon again and select Clear Filter. And I'm going to go ahead and clear this other filter that I applied earlier. So that's how you do simple filtering. Now let's take a look at some more advanced techniques. Using the same menu, you can also search for values that appear in this column. For example, a lot of our equipment is made by a company named Ceres. If we type that here, Excel will look for a match anywhere in this column and then list only those results below. To apply the filter, just click OK. For a little more control, you can use text filters instead. You'll access these from the same menu under Text Filters. Here you can filter information that fits more specific criteria. For example, cells that contain a certain number of characters, or data that doesn't contain a word. In this example, we're going to choose does not contain, and then enter laptop to exclude anything that contains this word, including laptops and laptop travel bags. Click OK, and Excel will refilter the data. Next, let's say that I only want to show items where the ID number is between 3000 and 6000. I can click the drop-down arrow and go to Number Filters. And there are a lot of different options here, but for what I need, I'm going to choose Between. Now I can type whatever values I want for these two fields. So this filter will show things that are greater than or equal to 3000 and less than or equal to 6000. Click OK, and now all of these values are between 3000 and 6000. Date filters are really cool because they can display data from a certain time period, such as last week, last year, between two dates, and so on. In this example, I'd like to find out which items were checked out between July 15th and August 15th. I'll select Between, and then in the dialog box that appears, I'll use this calendar icon to select July 15th and August 15th. Then click OK. And at this point, we have 3 different filters applied to our worksheet. So it's filtering out most of the items and just showing the ones that meet all of the criteria. If you'd like to remove the filters, you can clear them one by one like we showed you before. You can click the Clear command in the Sort and Filter group to clear all active filters, or you can turn off filtering altogether. Just click the Filter command to do this. As you can see, filtering can narrow things down really quickly, which will help you find the data you need. And because it includes so many different options, we bet you'll be able to use it with just about any spreadsheet.
So I hope that sorting and filtering part is clear to you, right? And then we have another manipulation technique that comes in Excel, that is conditional formatting, right? So if we take this conditional formatting, basically in conditional formatting, it format our cell based on some conditions, right? So basically it changed the appearance of the cells based on the conditions that we specify. That is what happened in conditional formatting. Actually, when we look at this conditional formatting, using that, we can visually explore and we can visually analyze the data, right? It is one of the easiest way to visually represent certain important data, right? Now, if I go to the Excel sheet, right, let's see how some of the conditional formatting can be done, right? Right. So here I have a data set which is having the salesperson and what is the sales generated by them in 3 different months and what is the total sales, right? Now here, if we take this one, now let's say Now we want to identify. Now let's say now for all these salesperson, we are giving a monthly target of 400,000, right? So their target is the 400,000. So we want to identify who have exceeded these targets, right? Therefore, in that case, in order to visually represent those which numbers have exceed the 400,000, so in that case, we can use this conditional formatting, right? So what we can do is we can select this one, right? We can select the entire range which having these sales data for each month, and then we go to home tab, and in home tab we have conditional formatting, right? So here, since I want to identify now which sales values are greater than 400,000, in that case I will select the first one, highlight sales rules greater than, right? I go to that option, right? Then I give my target level, that is 400,000, right? Here I want to identify which are greater than 400,000. And also here you can format your cell in different ways. So here there are default formatting options. At the same time, you can go to custom format as well, right? So for now, I will select this one, right? And click OK. Now here, if you look at this one, here you can see who are the sales. Now you can see all the sales figures which are greater than 400,000, right? So it will help us to visually identify the figures that are greater than 400,000. And at the same time, based on that, we can identify which salesperson have meet this target, right? Now, if we take these two salesperson, this Andrew and Niroshan, here we can see they have achieved the sales target in all 3 months, right? You can clearly identify these things based on this conditional format, right? You don't have to do in-depth analysis in order to identify that, right? And also, now if we take another one, right? Let's say now I want to identify who are the salesperson. Now I want to identify maybe the salesperson, the top 5 salesperson who have recorded highest total sales, right? So in that case, what we can do, we can select this total sales data range, right? We select this particular column, right? Then we go to conditional formatting, and here we have top bottom rules, right? So there what we can do is we can select top 10 items, right? However, here I don't want top 10 items, rather I am expecting to get the information relevant to top 5, right? So here I will select 5 and I will give the formatting option and then click OK, right? So here you can see what are the highest 5 totals, highest sales for the all 3 months, right? Based on that, you can identify who are the salespersons who have recorded highest sales within these 3 months, right? So that can be identified using this conditional formatting. So in addition to these options, we also have this data bars, right? So data bars, basically it will color the, these are like a bar charts, right? Basically now, if I select this one, if I select this range, and if I go to data bars, so here you can see it will show the, it will show now the length of the bar is get longer when the values are higher, right? So based on the value, it determines this length of the bar, right? So this is again visualized about your data in the cell. And if you go to the color scales, right? Here also based on your cell value, it will color your cells. Ape cells color karanawa, cell values base karana, right? At the same time, we have this icon sets. Now here there are different icons. There are different symbols which you can use for your data in the cell. Ape cell එකේ තියෙන data represent කරන්න අපිට විවිධ icons use කරන්න පුළුවන්, right? Now for an example, if I select this icon, now here you can see these red color icons, it indicates the lower values, right? And green color ones indicates the highest value. And if we take the yellow one, it indicates the average value, right? Likewise, based on these icons also, you can get an idea about the data that is in these different cells, right? So let's say now here, if we take this particular range, now here we have applied two conditional formatting, right? First, we have applied conditional formatting in order to identify the sales values which are greater than 400,000. Then also we have applied some icons or symbols in order to represent this data. Let's say you don't want all these conditions, rather you want to keep only the icons, right? There we have, now if we go to these clear rules, then what happened here, it clear the all rules that we apply. Now here we can't go for this option. Therefore, what we can do is we go to manage rules option, right? So here it shows the these conditional formattings that we have applied for the selected cell range, right? So from there, what you can do is you can select, now I don't want this one, therefore you can select this and you can delete this rule and click OK. Now if you do that, then you can see now that conditional formatting get deleted from this particular cell range, right? So that is about conditional formatting. Basically, it helps us to format our cells based on certain criteria or based on the criteria that we specify. Is it clear? Is it clear to you? Right, okay. Now, if we go back to our slides, right? So these are the different data manipulation techniques that we can use, right? So I hope all the techniques that we have discussed here are clear to you, because I did not discuss these things in detail because you are already familiar with these techniques that we have discussed, right? So the next we are moving to the data validation in Excel, right? Which is also another important area that is come under this Microsoft Excel, right? So if we look at what is data validation is basically we are using data validation in order to restrict the type of data or the values that user enter into a cell, right? Now we know when we are given a worksheet, right? So and when we enter the data into that worksheet, right? Now the different fields of this worksheet, it expect different things, right? Now if the data validation is not there, then anyone can enter whatever they want. දැන් මේ data validation වගේ දෙයක් නැති වුණොත් මොකද වෙන්නේ? ඕනම කෙනෙක්ට ඒ worksheet එකට ඕනම දෙයක් enter කරන්න පුළුවන්, right? Rather, in order to keep a control on what data can be entered to a worksheet, we can use this data validation. දැන් මේ worksheet එකේ තියෙන cells වලට මොනවද enter කරන්න පුළුවන් කියන එක control කරන්න. ඒ input කරන data restrict කරන්න අපිට මේ data validation කියන technique එක use කරන්න පුළුවන්, right? Now using the data validation, when we use the data validation, it ensures that the data in our worksheet are accurate and consistent, right? අපි enter කරලා තියෙන data accurate, ඒ වගේම මේවා consistent කියන එක. කියන්නේ කිනකට consistent වෙනවා කියන එකත් ensure කරන්න වැදගත් වෙනවා data validation කියන එක, right? Now, in order to give you a brief idea on this data validation, there's a small video that I would like to share with you.
Sometimes you want to control the data other people enter. That's when you need data validation. Select the cells you want to limit, then Data, Data validation. There are several controls. You can make sure just numbers are added or a particular text length, like for a phone number. For this example, we'll select Time. We'll choose between the times we are open, a start time of 8 o'clock a.m. and an end time of 5 o'clock p.m. On the Input Message tab, you can customize a message that people will see. You can also customize the error message, but we'll just use the default. Select OK. When one of the cells is selected, everyone will see the input message reminder. Times can be inputted, but when a time is outside the range, it is not allowed.
Right. So if we look at this data validation in Excel in detail, now here. Now where we can find data validation, in which tab we have data validation? මොන tab එකේද අපිට data validation කියන option එක තියෙන්නේ? We have that in the data tab, right? Now if we go to the data tab, right, in this data tools group we have data validation option, right? Now here if we take for an example, now if we go to this data validation, let me quickly brief you on these tabs that are available, right? Now this data validation window is open, and here you can see 3 tabs, right? Setting, input message and error alert. So if we look at this setting tab, in the setting tab, basically this is the place where we specify our data validation rules, right? අපේ data validation rules මොනවද කියන එක අපි specify කරන්නේ මේ setting tab එකේ. And here we can see there are different validation criteria, right? So there are default validation criteria, as well as you can create your formulas using this custom option as well, right? And then we also have input message, right? Now input message is the message that is displayed to us, displayed to the user when the particular cell with data validation is clicked or selected, right? ඒ කියන්නේ data validation rule එකක් apply කරලා තියෙන cell එකක් select කරාම එයාට display වෙන message එක තමයි මේ input message එක කියලා කියන්නේ, right? So here you can give a title and you can type input message, right? So when I select this cell, then if the message is there, then it will get displayed. And this input message, it is not essential, right? It is something optional, right? If you now, because why it is optional? Because it only indicate or it only inform to the user what is expected through this cell or what is permitted to be entered into the cell. දැන් මේ input message එකක් කියන එක හැමතිස්සෙම ඒක essential දෙයක් නෙමෙයි. ඒකෙන් ඇත්තට මේක optional. ඒ කියන්නේ ඒකෙන් මූලිකවම එන්නේ අර user ට කියනවා මොකක්ද මේ cell එකට allow කරන්නේ. මේ cell එකේ යාට enter කරන්න පුළුවන් මොන වගේ දෙයක්ද කියන එක ගැන යාට information එකක්, යාට idea එකක් දෙන එක තමයි මේ input message එකෙන් වෙන්නේ. Right? And if we go to the error alert, the error alert is the message or the alert that is given when the invalid data is entered to the cell with the validation criteria, right? When the validation rule is not meet or is not satisfied, in that case, the error alert is displayed, right? අපිට error alert එකක් display වෙන්නේ දැන් validation rule එකක් දාලා තියෙන cell එකකට අපි ඒ validation rule එක satisfy නොවන data එකක් enter කරොත්, invalid data එකක් enter කරොත් ඒ වෙලාවේදී error alert එකක් අපිට display වෙනවා. Right? Now here there are different styles of error alert: stop, warning and information. So if you give the stop style, then in that case it does not allow us to enter any value if the validation criteria is not satisfied. Right? Stop එකේදී වෙන්නේ අපිට validation criteria එක satisfy කරේ නැත්නම් අපිට කිසිම value එකක් enter කරන්න දෙන්නේ නැහැ. But if we take the warning and information, in that case, here warning, it warns that this value is not satisfy the validation criteria, but still we are in a position to enter the value, right? Information, if we take, it gives us an information or it informs us this validation criteria is not satisfied, but still we can ignore that and we can enter the data, right? So that is about the error alert. So I am not going to demonstrate this because you can practice these things by your own, right? And if we go to the setting tab, right, let's see some of the validation criteria that are available. Now, let's say for an example, for this customer ID column, I want to make sure we are only allowing 5 digits, right? Customer ID should be 5 digits. අපේ customer ID එකේ තියෙන්න ඕනේ digits 5යි කියන එක අපි ensure කරන්න ඕනේ, right? For that, what you can do is we go to data validation and we select the text length, right? We select the text length and then we select equal to, right? What is my text length? It should be 5 and I click OK, right? So when I click OK, now let's try to enter this, right? Yeah, it allows me, right? Why? Because this is the digits, this custom ID is having 5 digits. Let's try to enter something greater than 5 digits. Then what happened? Now the error alert will display, right? So this is the default error alert that is available, right? So it says this value does not match the validation restrictions defined for this cell, right? Why? Because we have mentioned we are only allowing to enter the digits that are equal to 5, right? And then if we try another one, right? Let's say now here this total sales category, here I am taking the total sales, right? We are recording the total sales only in the whole numbers and we are recording the sales which are greater than 50,000. Then අපි කියනවා අපි whole numbers විතරයි record කරන්නේ මේ sales category එකේ decimals record කරන්නේ නැහැ. ඒ වගේම අපි record කරන්නේ 50,000 above sales විතරයි. ඒ වගේ වෙලාවකදීත් අපිට පුළුවන් මේ data validation rule එකක් දෙන්න. So here we can use whole number and we have to say greater than, right? What is our value? That is 50,000, right? And click OK. If I try to enter value of 40,000, let's see whether it allows me. No, it does not allow me, right? It says this does not match the validation restrictions that we define, right? So likewise, if you're not satisfied that, now here you can see it does not allow me to proceed, right? So I have to change that, right? If I change it to the 60,000, now I can proceed, right? And other than that, another important validation rule that is available in Excel is this drop-down list, right? Now, sometimes, let's say now here, we are having the different categories of customers, right? Now here we have to enter the category here, right? So you can type it as well. But sometimes when the different people try to type these things, you can type in a different way. So in order to make sure the accuracy and consistency of this, we can use this drop-down list, right? So here what we are doing is we are selecting a data from a predefined list, right? So what we can do is we can go to this data validation and we select list, right? And then here you can type your list as well, or else what you can do is we go and we give this reference, right? And then we click OK, right? Now here you can see, now here it has, now this gives the drop down list, right? Now if you change this, let's say you are changing this to supermarket, right? So let's see whether this changes. Here we can see this has changed, right? The category has updated based on the change in here, right? Likewise, there are different already inbuilt certain validation criteria that are available. At the same time, we can use the custom functions in order to apply some formulas in order to as the validation criteria, right? Now let's say for an example, now in your organization, now you are planning to buy 3 products, right? You are planning to buy laptop, printer and office table, right? However, in order to plan all these 3, you are given only 120,000. So your budget is 120,000. You have to make sure the total expenditure for these 3 products is not exceeding 120,000. Then අපි make sure කරන්න ඕනේ අපේ මේ expenditure එක, මේ products තුනට යන total expenditure එක 120,000 exceed කරන්නේ නැහැ. මොකද ඒක තමයි අපිට තියෙන total budget එක, right? So here, how you can apply validation criteria here. So we will select these three, right? We will select these three and then we go to data validation. We select the custom and then we type a formula. We say sum and we refer this range and it should be, and we have to make this absolute, and we have to say it should be less than or equal to 120,000. The sum of these three should be less than or equal to 120,000 and click OK. Now let's try to enter. Now here, let's say the laptop is 185,000 and here my printer is, let's say, 60,000. Then what happened? This does not allow me to enter that figure. Why? Because if this is 60,000, then what happened? It exceed 120,000. 120,000 exceed වෙනවා මේක 60,000 enter කරා. ඒ නිසා එතනදී මට 60,000 enter කරන්න allow කරන්නේ නැහැ. Likewise, there are different formulas that you can apply as a data validation rule using these custom functions, right? You can try these things at home, right? Is this clear to you? Is this validation part is clear to you? So here I have just summarized some of the basic things that comes under data validation, right? Up to that part, is everything clear? Right, okay. So the next one. Next we have, so this is a new area, right? We did not discuss this earlier. That is formula auditing and error correction, right? So let's see what is this formula auditing. Now here it says formula auditing can be used to display the relationship between formulas and cells, right? Then formulas හදනකොට, now when we are applying the formulas, we know we are referring different cells, right? So the relationship that exists between the formulas and these different cells, right, that will be displayed using this formula auditing, right? අපි දැන් formulas අපි apply කරනකොට අපි එක එක cells refer කරනවා. එතකොට මේ cells සහ formulas අතර තියෙන relationship එක මොකක්ද කියන එක අපිට visually display කරන්න use කරන්න පුළුවන් දෙයක් තමයි මේ formula auditing කියලා කියන්නේ. Right? Now if we go to my Excel sheet, now normally, now if we take, you are working in an organization, right? Sometimes you are getting a report which are already completed, right? All the calculations, everything has performed, right? So there you have to, sometimes when you are analyzing this report, sometimes you need the knowledge on, or you need to know how this particular value has generated, right? Which values has been used in order to calculate this particular value, right? You want to know these things. So in order to identify these things, this knowledge on formula auditing is very much important, right? Then ඔයාලා අපි හිතමුකෝ මොකක් හරි job එකක් කරනකොට සමහර වෙලාවෙදී අපිට reports එනවා refer කරන්න. ඒ වෙලාවේදී දැන් මේ ගොඩක් සමහර reports තියන්න පුළුවන් ඔයාලට එන්නේ complete කරපු calculations කරපු report එකක්. එතනදී අපිට හොයාගන්න ඕනේ දැන් මේ සමහර values කොහොමද generate වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. මොන වගේ cells ද use කරලා තියෙන්නේ, right? ඒ වගේ වෙලාවකදී මේ වගේ formula auditing use කරලා function එක අපිට use කරලා ලේසියෙන්ම අර refer වෙලා තියෙන cells සහ ඒ වගේ relationship එක මොකක්ද කියන එක ලේසියෙන්ම අඳුන ගන්න පුළුවන්, right? Now here I have a let's say this is a sales report, right? So this indicate what are the different sales that are being recorded by the different salesperson in different districts, right? Now here I have the totals, district-wise total, right? And also monthly total, and we also the grand total of the sales, right? Now here I have, now this is my grand total figure, right? This is my grand total figure. Now here I want to know how this particular value has calculated, right? Let's say you don't know how this figure has arrived. So you want to know how they have calculated, how someone has calculated this particular value, using which values, right? So there, if we use the formula auditing, right? The formula auditing is available in this formula tab, right? If you go to this formula auditing group, the different functions relevant to the formula auditing is available, right? Now, if we go to first one, trace precedence, right? Let's say what it says. It shows the arrows that indicate which cell affect the value of currently selected cell, right? Now, if we go to the trace precedence, it says it indicates which cells have resulted in or which cells have contributed to the selected cell, right? දැන් අපි මෙතන සෙල් එකක් සිලෙක්ට් කරලා තියෙනවා මේ සෙල් එකට කන්ට්‍රිබියුට් කරලා තියෙන සෙල් එක මොකක්ද කියන එක තමයි මේ trace precedent හරහා අපිට දැනගන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ කියන්නේ මේ සෙල් එකට affect කරලා තියෙන values මොනවද? මේ සෙල් එකට contribute කරලා තියෙන values මොනවද? Right? Now here first you have to select the value that you want to identify which the value, right? Now here I want to identify how this particular value has calculated. දැන් මේ value එක calculate කරේ කොහොමද? මේ value එකට මොනවද use කරලා තියෙන values කියලා තමයි මට identify කරගන්න ඕනේ. So I select this particular value, right? Then I select trace precedence. Then what happened? Now here this arrow indicates what are the cells that have contributed or what are the cells that have used to calculate this particular value. Right? Then make it කියන්නේ මේ monthly sales තුන මේ month wise total sales තුන use කරලා තමයි අපි මේ value එක calculate කරලා තියෙන්නේ කියන එක තමයි මෙතනදී අපිට indicate කරන්නේ. Right? Now if I click this sales precedent again, now here I can see now this first dot indicate total of Colombo district. Now second one indicate total of Kalutara. Third one total Gampaha, and fourth one total Kurunegala, right? So the total sales of these 4 districts has contributed to this value, and these 4 here in the next other month also in November also these 4 district total sales have contributed to this total value, and in the December also it is similar, right? Then these 3 have contributed to this particular value. And again, if you click this trace precedent, here also it says how this value has calculated, right? We have used these 4 values in order to calculate this total, right? Likewise, we can get a clear idea on which cells have contributed to this resulting cell based on this trace precedence option, right? And then, now once we identify that, let's say now you don't want this arrow to be kept. So what you can do is you will remove the arrows, right? So we can remove the arrows using this remove arrows option, right? Then we say now maybe you want to identify, now here we have this grand total, right? You want to identify, sometimes we use a particular value in order to calculate some other values. Now maybe this grand total may have been used in order to calculate some other values as well. Then මේ grand total එක base කරන් අපි තව වෙනත් දේවල් calculate කරලා තියෙන්න පුළුවන්. Right? දැන් මට හොයාගන්න ඕනේ ඒක. Right? So here what we can do is we can go to this trace dependence option. Right? Here it says show arrows that indicate which cells are affected by the value of the currently selected cell. Right? Now here I have selected this one. So based on this, which cells are affected from this particular value? Mono cells the මේ cell එකේ තියෙන value එකෙන් affect වෙන්නේ. ඒක identify කරගන්න තමයි අපි trace dependence කියන option එකට යන්නේ. Right? Now if we click this trace dependence option, here you can see, right? Now the percentage of cells I have calculated by dividing this individual sales figure from the grand total. Then my percentage of sale එක calculate කරලා තියෙන්නේ මේ individual sale එක grand total එකෙන් divide කරලා. Right? Therefore, now here you can see, now all these values are depends on this grand total. මේ values ඔක්කොම grand total එක මත depend වෙනවා. Right? That is why it shows the arrows to all these cells. මේ cells ඔක්කොටම පෙන්නන්නේ එකයි. මොකද grand total එක මත තමයි මේ ඔක්කොම values ටික depend වෙන්නේ. Right? So trace dependence you can use in order to identify that. I hope that is clear. Right? Then again we can remove the arrows. Right? And also Now let's say you want to know what are the different formulas that have been used here, right? Maybe you are getting this completed document with all the results. So you want to know what are the different formulas that have been used. So for that, you can use this show formulas option, right? So if you click that, then here you can see all the formulas that have been used in order to do the calculations in this particular worksheet, right? And other than that, we also have this error checking, right? So here, using this error checking option, we can check whether there are any errors in our worksheet, right? Now, if we click that, here it says the error check is complete for the entire sheet. So that means there are no any errors, right? If the errors are there, it will display what are these errors, right? Now, let's say for an example, now I delete this particular value, right? Now here what happens? The error is coming here in this percentage of sales. Why? Because I have deleted the total sales value, right? Now here, if we do the error checking, now here it says error in cell G2. Now I have selected this and I did the error checking. So it says there is an error in cell G2, right? So what is that error? Divide by errors zero error. Then මම cell එක divide කරලා තියෙන්නේ zero වලින්. මොකද අතන empty cell එකක් තමයි තිබ්බේ. එතකොට ඒක zero වලින් තමයි divide වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. ඒ නිසා තමයි මේ error එක ඇවිල්ලා තියෙන්නේ. Right? So there you can get an online help in order to correct this error. Right? Also it shows you the calculation steps, how you have calculated this one. Right? Also you can ignore the error or you can edit it in the formula bar. Yeah, you can do the addition to this formula in this formula bar, right? Likewise, you can do different things in order to correct this error once the error is identified, right? And also now another option is there. You can evaluate the formula, right? Now what the evaluation of formula does, basically it will evaluate or it will check each and every part of your formula, right? So here I am having a very simple formula, but let's say you are having a complex formula. Let's say you are using VLOOKUP, HLOOKUP, right? In that cases, you know this formula is having different components, right? So each and every component of that formula is evaluated. You can evaluate using this formula auditing part, right? This evaluate formula part, right? If we take for an example, now here if you click evaluate, now it indicate what is in there in this F2. Now if we take this F26, if you evaluate that, then it shows this F26, it is 0, right? Likewise, you can evaluate this particular formula based on this evaluate formula option, right? Normally, this evaluate formula option will be very useful, as I mentioned earlier, when you are dealing with more complex calculations, when you are using more complex formulas. In that situation, this evaluate formula will be very much useful, right? Then අපි ගොඩාක් lengthy formula එකක් use කරලා තියෙනවා නම්, ගොඩාක් ලොකු formula එකක් use කරලා තියෙනවා නම් calculation වලට, එතකොට එතනදී ඒ formula එකට අපි use කරලා තියෙන different values, ඒ දේවල් ගැන idea එකක් ගන්න, ඒ formula එකෙන් part එක අපිට analyze කරන්න හැකියාවක් තියෙනවා මේ evaluate formula කියන option එක use කරලා. Is it clear to you? So that is all about this formula auditing. So from this formula auditing part, is everything clear to you? මේ formula auditing එකේ මම discuss කරපු දේවල් හැමදේම ඔයාලට clearද? Yes or no? Do you have any questions from this formula auditing part? Right, okay. So then we can move to the last part, that is Microsoft Excel as a business intelligence tool, right? Now, first, let's see, before we talk about this business intelligence part of the Microsoft Excel, first let's see what is business intelligence, right? Now, if we look at this business intelligence. What is that? It is basically involve the set of tools and processes that use to gather data, turn it into meaningful information, and then make better decision. Right? Now, if we take this business intelligence, it involves different tools, different application, different techniques, processes that helps us to gather data, right? And then process this data and convert them into some meaningful format, which ultimately helps us to get better decisions. right? අපි business intelligence වලදී හැමතිස්සෙම කතා කරන්නේ අපි use කරන විවිධ tools වෙන්න පුළුවන්, applications වෙන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ කියන්නේ මේවා හරහා මේවා analyze කරලා මේවට හැකියාව තියෙනවා data process කරලා ඒ data meaningful form එකකට convert කරන්න, ඒ වගේම ඒ information base කරගෙන decision making කියන දේ facilitate කරන්න හැකියාවක් තියෙනවා මේ business intelligence හරහා. Right? Now, the main focus of business intelligence is to generate information in order to come up with different insights which facilitate decision making. ඒ කියන්නේ අපිට විවිධ insights ලබාගෙන ඒවා භාවිතා කරලා decisions ගන්න පුළුවන් විදිහේ meaningful information අපිට ලබා දෙන එක තමයි මේ business intelligence වල main focus එක වෙන්නේ. Right? Now, if we take the Excel also, now Excel is not just a application, right? It is not just an application that we can use for these simple calculations, right? Then අපි Excel කියන එක ගත්තාමත් Excel කියන්නේ අපිට නිකන් calculations කරන්න විතරක් use කරන tool එකක් නෙමෙයි, right? Rather, we Excel also identified as one of the main business intelligence tools that can be used for the purpose of decision making, right? අපිට තීරණ ගන්න use කරන්න පුළුවන් වැදගත් business intelligence tool එකක් විදිහට මේ Microsoft Excel කියන එකත් identify කරගන්න පුළුවන්. Right? Now, for an example, using the Microsoft Excel, maybe you are in a position to get some insights on your business performance, right? You are in a position to take decisions relevant to your investment, right? You are in a position to come up with some decisions relevant to your product portfolio, right? Likewise, different kinds of decision making can be supported by the outputs that are being generated through this Microsoft Excel, right? So in order to facilitate the decision making, there are different BI capabilities that are available in Microsoft Excel, right? So there are different BI capabilities such as Excel dashboard, which provides you a visualization, right? If we take a dashboard, in a dashboard, it gives you, it basically visually displayed you some of the critical information, right? So at a glance, you can get a clear idea about what is happening, right? How things are happening or how the performance is going on. So these things you can clearly identify looking at this Excel, looking at a dashboard, right? So similarly, in Excel also, it generates such visualization, such interactive dashboard, which also help the people to take certain decisions, right? At the same time as these BI capabilities, Excel is also having Power Query, Power Pivot, Power Maps, etc., right? So these things we will be discussed in the coming lectures as well. What are these different capabilities, right? So now for today, I have a small video on this Excel dashboard, right?
Hello trendsetters. Well, this is what is possible with a humble Excel spreadsheet. This spreadsheet tracks website analytics and related traffic information. And you can see that at the moment it's a European focus. So everything here relates to the continent of Europe and the traffic that's coming through that region. But we can change the focus very easily to America. So now, once we click this button, everything changes. So now it's an American focused dashboard, an African focused dashboard, or an Asia focused dashboard. We're looking at April year to date. We can change the focus so we can look at all year based on the Australian calendar year. So now it's a June year to date dashboard. You can go backwards, have a look at December. It's got a heat map. You can have a look at orders or page views, and you can see the heat map changes, or visitors, and everything changes, including the series down the bottom. So look, it's really, well, it's a fair bit of work to create these things, but it's all about setup, yeah? If you get the setup right, these things kind of fall out of the calculations pages. So design your models that are clearly thought out, that have inputs, calculations, and outputs, and then you can design things that make magic happen. All right, everyone, have a great day.
My job is to make college.
Right. So there also you have seen, right, how the Excel can be used in order to create more interactive dashboards, right? So there also it was indicated the key performance indicators or key informations relevant to the website performance. These have been indicated on a single screen on this dashboard so that it will be easy for people to get certain decisions or identify how the things are happening in your business, right? So likewise, these are the different BI capabilities that are available, right? So that is about how we can use Microsoft Excel as a business intelligence tool, right? So now this is what we are planning to cover for today. So from the things that I have explained in today's lecture, is there anything that is not clear to you? If you have any questions, you can ask, right? Now, at least you have to tell me whether the things I have discussed with you, is it clear or not, right? දැන් මේ කියලා දුන්නේ ඔයගොල්ලන්ට තේරෙනවද? අපි දැන් අද cover කරපු ටික මොනවාම හරි ප්‍රශ්න තියෙනවා නම් ඔයගොල්ලන්ට අහන්න පුළුවන්. Can you hear me? And are you there in the lecture? Right, okay. So I think with that, we can wind up the today's session, right? So in the next week, we are planning to discuss about this advanced spreadsheet application in detail, right? And also some of the students have some issues relevant to the final examination, right? So things about the final examination, we will be informed to you in the coming lectures, right? So with that, we can wind up the today's lecture, right? Excuse me.